whatever it might be. And that's it. What do we do when our children wander, quote unquote? Because they will. They're going to do things differently than we do. They're going to see the world differently. They're coming out of a different era. And yet, what do we do? How do we do when they're just like making decisions that are really difficult? Well, the first part, would be, I'd tell you, really try to make sure that those decisions, whether it's time to intervene or not, sometimes it will be, sometimes it won't be. Probably a lot of the time, those decisions might be something where we have a preference they do it differently, but there's really nothing at stake there. It's just a preference. They like their hair a certain way. I don't know, that kind of thing where it's not really that deep an issue, but we can feel like it is because we have a picture in our head of the way life's supposed to go. But then what about those bigger issues? If they're making choices that we know, at least from our perspective, that really don't work. And here I'd offer you a few things, and this is just standard 101, which no doubt 99% of us practice as best we can, granted imperfectly. But number one, it starts with with our children, and it includes adolescents and adult children. We want to have a friendship, but that's not the primary role. The primary role is to be a parent. And that role will change. I don't know anybody who's looking to be parented in their 30s, at least I hope not. But it does shift and change. But I think our kids really benefit when they know what we stand for, and that's that lighthouse thing which I talk about a lot. The lighthouse, it helps ships come in, it helps ships go out. Anne Lamott's famous thing, which I quoted a couple of weeks ago: "No lighthouse saved anyone running around a beach." That's true with parenting as well. That we're there to really create a set of values and to allow people to navigate. And that's where we have to remember that it's about a compass and navigation. It's not about a map and delineation. And what I mean by that is we're trying as best we can to pass on a set of values that we know will help them to navigate life. That there is indeed an order to things, and there's an orderly way to do things, and that they will be better served by following that order, even when they may not be able to see it in the moment. It's very different from a map. A map means we know exactly what they should do. You should go up to this street, you should turn right, you go 2 blocks, turn left, etc. That tends to not work so well. And that's really not what parenting is about, I don't think. I think parenting is we're really trying to give our kids a sense of a true north, a sense of a direction they can go, a sense of something bigger than themselves. And what does this mean? Well, I think about the beautiful biblical passage about, the house built on the rock versus the house built on the sand, and the idea that storms are going to come. And if as parents, we've helped to create in our children, or if our caregivers, those under our care, if we help to give them a real strong foundation, they're going to be able to weather a lot of storms, because it isn't about avoiding the storms. Like, the storms are going to come no matter what. And we just hope at that time that there is something foundational that they've built their lives on. And that's much better than something that's built on the sand. And of course, they're going to make their own decisions, some of which might be painful for us. They might choose a different faith than what you might hope for, and probably will. And they might choose a certain lifestyle that you would prefer they not choose. But you can still keep on coming back to what are those foundational truths that will really, really help them. And it's about communicating them, but most importantly, it's about living them. How can we really live those truths the best that we can? Because that's what our kids will pay the most attention to, really how we lived. And they'll be able to see for themselves. And it's one of the hard parts to watch is right when and again, most of my life was spent being a teacher, and you see people make decisions. These decisions are probably not the healthiest decisions in the world. And we just have to come to trust that as they make those decisions, as they go their way, that there'll be a learning along the way. And seen it so many times where decisions get made, and then all of a sudden this path that mom or dad had that looked like pretty darn boring and plain and blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden that path becomes incredibly attractive, because this path of just doing things exactly the way we want to doesn't work so well. So that is very true as well. So as we go into this week ahead, really be thinking about that. If you have a child, adult child, teenage child, whatever, be thinking about that. Remember again, that idea of being a friend, that changes a lot. We're not really their friends when they're adolescents. We're their parent. And that role later on hopefully becomes more and more about friendship and will still always be a parent in a sense. And can from that role can we convey to them those foundational truths that we really know will help them to move forward in life. And best thing we can do to convey it is to live it ourselves. Just live it ourselves. Don't be afraid to say it either. I mean, I just think that makes such a difference. I was blessed with parents who talked about values all the time, and they were so clear that they weren't prescriptive in it. It wasn't like we needed to toe the line exactly how they did. Come from a family of five, and we've all gone very different directions. But the beautiful part is somehow mom and dad gave us these universal truths, this universal foundation that I think has served all of us incredibly well. And I think that's what we really want to do as parents. And with that, we just bring a lot of compassion, a lot of love, a lot of honesty, a lot of authenticity. I mean, all the good stuff that really makes a relationship deep and rich and meaningful. So I hope that makes sense, friends, about what you might be able to do when kids make choices that you might not be an advocate of, put it that way. All right, dear friends, what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little breath and we're going to come in for a gentle landing here. And what that means is we take a little breath, then I'll do a little meditation, a little prayer, and a little blessing. So please join me. Let's get a little breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, again, I want to thank you for joining us. We will not be doing live comments today because we're actually traveling back from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, out there visiting family out there. So I'm wishing you all the very best. Please leave, as always, comments in written form, and we'll respond to them in due time. Take care, dear friends. God bless. Bye-bye. Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church